It's a rare condition this day and time to find a good church where love can shine, where hope and connection by God's design keep growing strong as our hearts align. Well, it must be the Holy Ghost inside these sacred walls. He's opened our eyes to a face so divine, real joy and peace in every life. As days go by, we're gonna fill this house with holy love. Though storms may rise, we'll lift our hands and thank God above, that as days go by, there's room for you, room for me, for gentle hearts and unity. It's the greater love of God's family.
Amen. Let's go to the Word of God. Some of you are going to be glad. Some of you are going to be sad because that was our last week with that video. Somebody say, oh, it's going to go down in Fresh Start history. This is week 4 of our Family Matters series, and I pray that you've been receiving the fullness of what God has in store for us. We're concluding this series with Luke, the 14th chapter. I'm going to read verses 15 to 23. I'm going to read from a different translation than normal. I'm going to the Message translation today. It's really a transliteration, but that's a story for another day. But Luke 14, verses 15 to 23. Scripture says this. It says, that triggered a response from one of the guests. How fortunate the one who gets to eat dinner in God's kingdom. Jesus followed up, yes, for there was once a man who threw a great dinner party and invited many. When it was time for dinner, he sent out his servant to the invited guests, saying, come on in, the food's on the table. Then they all began to beg off, one after another, making excuses. The first said, I bought a piece of property and need to look it over, send my regrets. Another said, I just bought 5 teams of oxen and I really need to check them out, send my regrets. And yet another said, I just got married and need to get home to my wife. The servant went back and told the master what had happened. He was outraged and told the servant, quickly, get out into the city streets and alleys. Collect all who look like they need a square meal, all the misfits and homeless and wretched you can lay your hands on, and bring them here. The servant reported back, Master, I did what you commanded, and there's still room. The master said, then go to the country roads, to whoever you find, and urge them to come in. I want my house full. Look at your neighbor and say, this has got to be a full house. Come on, look at somebody else and say, this has got to be a full house. You can be seated in the presence of the Lord. It's got to be a full house. Thanksgiving just passed, y'all. Y'all still full? That's why y'all sluggish now. Did you ever notice, or maybe it's just me, you ever notice how on Thanksgiving Day somebody will say, dinner starts at 3? What y'all laughing for? So you show up at 3 and ain't nothing ready. The saints are still in their pajamas. Turkey is in the sink. Stuffing ain't stuffed. Mac and cheese is still in the grocery bags, and somehow you are the problem. They're looking at you like you early, even though they're the ones that said 3 o'clock. Because let's be honest, on Thanksgiving, most of us are inviting people into chaos that we're still trying to get under control. We're trying to do too much at one time. Look up somebody and say, it's too much, it's too much. We tasting things talking about there's something missing. Yeah, it's something missing because you forgot to put something in it. We're Googling how to fix dry turkey. We're opening up the oven every 12 minutes like that's going to speed up the time. Because we got a way of inviting people into things that we're still trying to finish. Things we haven't fully prepared, things that we are guessing through, things that we are hoping works out, and that's how we do it. But the good news is that's not how God does it. The host in Jesus's parable is the complete opposite of y'all. He doesn't invite people into confusion. He does not invite people into chaos. He does not invite people into something that is half done. He sends out the invitation after everything is already ready. God does not say come until the table is set. God does not call you until the moment is prepared. He does not pull you into something that he has not already finished. The table is set. The feast is finished. The moment is prepared. Everything is already complete. The invitation goes out after the preparation. He is calling them into a finished work. Somebody shout finished work. And that challenges us because God does not wait for us to feel ready before he decides that it is time. We keep trying to get God to move at the speed of our feelings, but God does not wait for us to be in the right mood to release the right moment. We want God to slow down until we are motivated. We want God to wait until we are emotionally settled. We want God to align with our timing. And sometimes we miss moments because we want God to match our mood. But the host says, come, the food is on the table, meaning I'm not asking you to cook anything. I'm not asking you to bring anything. I'm not asking you to help me finish anything. I am inviting you to something that is already done. God invites you into what he finished, not what you prepare. And for a lot of us, that's uncomfortable because some of us have never walked into a room that we did not have to build. We've never walked into an opportunity that we didn't have to grind for. We never walked into a moment that we didn't have to push, that we didn't have to force, that we didn't have to fight to create. So when God says it's already done, something in us gets nervous because we don't know how to receive what we did not produce. And for some of us, we have some self-sabotaging behaviors, mainly because we don't trust anything that we didn't sweat for. We don't trust anything that we didn't earn. We don't trust anything that doesn't cost us something because deep down we struggle to believe that God could be that good without us having to be that strong. And sometimes the real battle is not the enemy. It's the part of us that's trying to prove ourselves to God, trying to earn what he's already given, trying to deserve what he already decided. We don't say it out loud, but some of us don't know how to let God be God. We only know how to work, not to receive. How to hustle, how to not to trust, how to build, not rest. And so we push away the very thing that we prayed for because we don't recognize blessings that we don't work to receive. But hear me, God did not ask you to earn the table. He asked you just to come in. Look at somebody and say, just come in, just come in, just come in. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is to stop sabotaging what God set up and just sit down. Look at somebody and say, it's time for you to just sit down already. There are some things that he does not need your help to accomplish. Just rest in him. He already prepared the table, and all you have to do is accept the invite. But the problem is the table is prepared, but the people are not. Everything on God's side is ready. Nothing on their side is. God says, come, and we say, hold on. God says now, and we say, give me a second. God sets the table, and we're still checking our schedules. God opens the door, and we are still asking for more confirmation. God's he has prepared the feast, and we're still wondering if we deserve the invitation. But look at somebody and say, just sit down already. Because the most spiritual thing you can do is stop sabotaging what God set up and just take your seat. Jesus says in verse 16, he says, there was once a man who threw a great dinner party and invited many, and when it was time, not when they felt ready, not when they finished what they were doing, not when it was convenient. When he decided the moment had come, when it was time for dinner, he sent out his servants to the invited guests saying, come on in, the food's on the table. The table is not being negotiated. The table is not in preparation. The table is not halfway there. The food is on the table. It is done. This is not an invitation into effort. It is an invitation into completion. It is an invitation into something that God had already handled. It's an invitation into a moment he prepared privately but will reveal publicly, because this host is not like us. We prepare as we go, but he prepares before we go. We are scrambling in the kitchen, but he is setting things in order behind the scenes. We are guessing the timing, but he is sovereign over time. When he calls, it means I finished my part, and now it is time for you to respond. And this is where the tension shows up, because responding to God requires trust. God says, I'm ready, and we say, let me get myself together. God says it's time, and we say, I'm still working on me. God says, come, but we say, I'm not prepared. And God says, exactly, that is why I prepared it for you, because the invitation is not about your readiness, it's about his. He did not ask the invited to bring something to the party. He already has it covered. God never invites you into what you have to complete in your own strength. He invites you into what has already been settled, what has been established, and what has been finished. Salvation, it's already been finished. Grace, it's already been finished. Redemption, it's already been finished. Your seat at the table, it's already been finished. Your access to the Father, it has already been finished. And so by the time the servant shows up, the only thing left for the guest to do is just to show up. Tell somebody it's time for you to show up. Jesus says something in verse 18 that we cannot skip over. He says, they all began to beg off one after another, meaning excuses showed up immediately. Before the servant could even celebrate the invitation, before the aroma of the feast could hit the air, before the moment could register, the excuses rose up instantly. And that tells us something. The table was not the issue. The people just weren't in position. Because when God prepares something, the enemy's first attack is not on the table. The enemy's first attack is on the response. Excuses don't show up when life is quiet. Excuses don't show up when nothing is happening. Excuses don't show up when nothing is demanded. Excuses rise when God is moving. Excuses rise when purpose is calling. Excuses rise when something requires your yes. They show up, excuses rise when the next level shows up at the door. The table is ready, and so are the excuses, and you've seen this. When nothing is going on, people have all the time in the world, but the moment that you need obedience, the moment it's time to stretch, the moment that the Spirit nudges you, the moment that the opportunity shows up, everything suddenly becomes a reason to delay. And Jesus says, let me show you what happens when the invitation goes out. Verse 18 says, the first said, I bought a piece of property and need to look it over. Send my regrets. It sounds like a valid reason on the surface. He says, I bought a field and I should go and take care of the thing that I bought. But the problem is not the field. The problem is that the field meant more to him than the feast. This excuse is not about real estate. This is about distraction disguised as responsibility. Because some of the loudest distractions in our lives are the ones that we can justify. This is what happens when the good becomes the enemy of the God thing. When your opportunities get louder than your priorities, when progress gets louder than presence, when the thing that you pursued starts pulling you away from the things that God prepared. And isn't it interesting? He did not say the field was in trouble. He didn't say the field had a problem. He didn't say something urgent happened. He just said, I need to go look at it. In other words, I need to check on the thing I'm attached to, even if it pulls me away from the thing God has prepared. Because distraction doesn't always come through crisis. Sometimes it just comes through curiosity. Sometimes it just comes through comfort. Sometimes it just comes through habit. This is the danger, the subtle danger of being busy with things that never feed you. He wasn't lying. He was just misaligned, because the human brain will always find a reason to avoid the thing that requires spiritual focus. I said the human brain will always find a reason to avoid the thing that requires spiritual focus. And sometimes the loudest distraction is the one that you can justify. I'm working on something. I got some things in motion. I got some deals on the table. I got to secure the bag. I got responsibilities. But here's the hard truth. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Not every open door is God. Not every field is your field. And not everything that looks urgent is important. Turn to your neighbor and say, don't let the field fool you. Because here's the truth. Some of us are walking away from a full table to chase something that's going to leave you empty. That's what distraction does. Distraction makes the immediate feel more important than the things of God. Distraction makes the thing in front of you feel bigger than the thing that God has called you to. Distraction makes you prioritize what you own over the one who owns you. Distraction feels like responsibility, but it functions like sabotage. And here's the part we don't like to admit. Not every field is a blessing. Some fields are bait. It's bait to pull you out of alignment. It is bait to pull you away from what God is preparing. It is bait to make you busy instead of fruitful. It's bait to keep your hands full so that your spirit stays empty, because distraction is not always sinful. Sometimes it's just strategic. The enemy does not have to destroy you if he can deter you. He doesn't need to attack your faith if he can redirect your focus. He does not need you to get you to say no to God if he can get you to say yes to something else. That's why Jesus puts this excuse first. It's not about the field, it's about the priority of the field. When the field gets bigger than the feast, something in your heart is out of order. Don't let that field fool you. Don't let something you're responsible for drag you out of what God has prepared for you. Don't let something you own you. Verse 19, Jesus says, another said, I just bought 5 teams of oxen, and I really need to check them out. Send my regrets. Now, I want to slow down here a bit, because this excuse hits 2 major areas: increase and busyness. Wealth and pace, ambition and identity. Buying 5 yoke of oxen was not a small thing. This was expansion. This was business. This was influence. This was movement. In our language, this is, I just closed on a property. I just got a major contract. We just launched something big. I got to keep up my momentum. Nothing about this sounds sinful. It sounds responsible. In fact, it sounds mature. It sounds like stewardship. But Jesus is revealing something deeper. Increase is not dangerous until it becomes a distraction. Because sometimes we don't miss God in seasons of struggle. We miss him in seasons of success. The man wasn't avoiding God. He was trying to manage momentum. He was trying to keep up with the pace. He was trying to make sure the blessing didn't fall apart. But here is the danger. Money creates movement. Movement creates busyness. And busyness creates blindness. Because when more shows up, so does more responsibility. Hello. More decisions, more pressure, more calls, more demands, more work. And suddenly, you're not absent because you don't care. You're absent because you can't slow down. And here is where your revelation has to kick in. You can spend your whole life trying out oxen that will never take you anywhere spiritually. Because when your identity gets tied to productivity, you will always feel too busy to respond to God. And hear me, there is a real danger in losing momentum. There's a real danger in letting momentum become your master. Some people don't miss God because they don't care. They miss him because they won't slow down. And this excuse exposes something that we rarely say out loud. Some people hide inside busyness because stillness would force them to confront themselves. One more time. Some people are hiding in busyness because stillness would force them to confront something in themselves. Busyness becomes a shield. Activity becomes armor. Movement becomes medication, because as long as you stay moving, you don't have to feel, you don't have to face, you don't have to deal. But at some point in time, you're going to have to deal with you. But when the table is ready, God is not asking you to prove anything. Let me say it again. God is not asking for you to prove anything. He is not asking for you to impress him. He is not asking for you to perform. He is not asking for you to validate your worth. He is asking you to receive. He is asking you to sit. He is asking you to rest. He is asking you to take your place and to understand that the invitation itself is the evidence that you belong at the table. And some of us have to be honest. We have had seasons where God wanted us seated and we kept choosing the workload instead. That's what trying out oxen really is. It is choosing tasks over presence. It is choosing work over worship. It is choosing responsibility over relationship. It's not sin per se, it's just busyness. Is being so tied to what you do that you miss what God is trying to give. Because let's be real, the man was not doing anything wrong. It was admirable, but it wasn't righteous. And that's where many of us get caught up. We stay busy, we stay productive, we stay in motion. And the whole time God is whispering, your oxen can wait. I prepared something for you. Just come and sit with me. Because you can always test your oxen later. But you can't always get back that moment that you missed. Turn to your neighbor and say, don't miss the moment. Come on, nudge the person sleeping and tell them, don't miss the moment. Jesus gives us a third excuse. And this one is the most subtle. It is the most emotional. It is the most understandable. Verse 20 says, and yet another said, I just got married and I need to get home to my wife. Oh, ain't that nice? This one hits the heart. This one is tied to a relationship. It's a real one. It's a meaningful one. A relationship you can actually understand, because if any excuse sounds reasonable, it's this one. This is the excuse we validate the most because it sounds the most innocent. God knows my heart. God knows I love him. God knows what I'm dealing with. He knows my situation. He knows what I'm facing, and all of that might be true. But sometimes we hide behind relationships to justify spiritual passivity. Not because the relationship is wrong, but because we are letting something good take a place it was never designed to hold. And hear me, not only can good things take the place of God, sometimes God things can take the place of God. Marriage is a God thing. Family is a God thing. Commitment is good. Connection is good. But when any of those things sit in the seat that belongs to God, they stop being blessings and they start becoming blockages. This excuse reveals how easy it is to let love, to let connection or comfort or even fear of conflict pull us away from God's invitation. I'll deal with it. Some people don't say yes to God because they're too busy trying to make somebody else comfortable. Some people don't grow because they're afraid growing is going to cost them company. Some people won't obey because they know obedience will expose somebody else's disobedience. Some of us aren't distracted by fields. We're not preoccupied with oxen, but we are entangled with people. We're entangled with their opinions. We're entangled with their expectations. We are entangled with their emotions. We're entangled with their approval, entangled with attachments that were never supposed to be our anchor. And this excuse is the hardest to confront because it sounds the most reasonable. But reasonable excuses are still excuses. The table was ready. The invitation was extended. The moment was set and he missed it, not because he did not love God, but because he let people hold the pen to his priorities. Turn to your neighbor and say, keep God first. Keep God first. And here's the thread that Jesus is pulling on. 3 different excuses, 3 different people, 3 different priorities, 3 different storylines, but they all have one thing in common. They all said not now to something that God said now to. They weren't just saying no to a meal, they were saying no to a moment. They weren't just rejecting the table, they were rejecting divine timing. They weren't just avoiding food, they were avoiding surrender. Because every excuse in this passage reveals a deeper truth. Excuses don't expose your schedule, they expose your priorities. Excuses don't reveal your capacity, they reveal your values. Excuses don't show what's happening around you, they show what's happening in you. And Jesus wants us to see this clearly. The table is not empty because the host didn't prepare. The table is not empty because the table is empty because the guest did not respond. The invitation was extended, the moment was set, the timing was perfect, but the people were not available, not because life was too hard, but because life was too loud. Not because they didn't want God, but because they wanted other things more. The table was ready, but the invited were not. And when the ones invited don't respond, God does not cancel the feast. He just redirects the invitation. When the servant comes back with all those excuses, Jesus says something that we cannot rush by. Scripture says the master became angry. But this is not the kind of anger of somebody who's just throwing a fit. This is the kind of anger that comes from love, when you have prepared something with intentionality, with generosity, with cost, and the very people you prepared it for treated casually. This is the ache of a God who said, come, and the invited said, maybe later. This is the disappointment of grace extended and grace ignored. But even in his anger, the master doesn't shut the house down. He doesn't cancel the feast. Instead, he redirects the mission. He widens the reach and he increases the urgency. He says to the servant, he says, go out quickly and bring in the poor, bring in the crippled, bring in the blind, and bring in the lame. When the master widens the invitation, watch this, he does not say, go find whoever you can. He gives 4 specific groups, because Jesus is not just filling seats. He's revealing the kind of people that the kingdom was always designed to reach. Number 1, the poor, the ones who came empty-handed but open-hearted. Poor is not just in finances. It's about posture. These are the people who walk in saying, I don't have it all together. I don't have anything impressive. I don't have anything to offer but my yes. These are the ones who walk in saying, God, I need you. I don't have nothing to flex. I don't have nothing to prove. Jesus said, the kingdom belongs to them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The proud don't come to the table because the proud don't think that they need to respond. But the poor in spirit, those are the ones who know that they are bankrupt without God. Those are the ones who know that they don't stand a chance without grace. Those are the ones who know that if God doesn't fill me, I'm going to stay empty. Them, he says, bring me them, because God is not intimidated by your lack. He is not shaken by what you don't have. He is not nervous about what you can't offer. Your lack does not lessen his preparation. Your emptiness does not threaten his abundance. Your gaps don't intimidate the God who fills all things. God is the only host who invites you knowing exactly what you're missing and still sets the table like you belong there. Your deficiencies don't trump his sufficiency. I said your deficiencies don't trump his sufficiency. Then Jesus said, the next group, he says, I need the crippled. And right there, I can't help but think about Jacob. Jacob wrestled with God all night long, and when the sun came up, Jacob walked differently. He walked with a limp, and some people see a limp and think weakness, but sometimes a limp is proof that you survived something. Sometimes a limp is the evidence that you encountered God in a way that changed you forever. Sometimes a limp is the receipt that says, I've been doing something, I've been through something, but I didn't break. I bent, I struggled, but I held on, because not every wound is fatal. Some wounds are formative. Some of the strongest people in this room don't walk perfect, but you walk marked. I said you don't walk perfect,
but you walked marked. You walk like somebody who's been marked by grace. You walk like somebody who's been marked by mercy, marked by battles you didn't think you'd survived, marked by nights that you cried yourself to sleep, marked by seasons where you thought you were going to lose your mind, marked by things that you didn't even know you were going to have to face, marked by storms that you can't post about, marked by some struggles that you can't even announce, marked by wrestling matches that nobody saw. You've been through something, but you still got up. Come on, you might limp, but you're here. You might not move like you used to, but you're still moving. You might not run like others, but you refuse to quit. And the master says, bring them here. Bring the ones who wrestled and didn't tap out. Bring the ones with testimonies, oh God, in their hand, in their mouths. Bring the ones who came through trauma and still are trusting God. Bring the ones who walk with reminders, because the limp doesn't disqualify them. The limp is the very reason that they qualify. Your limp is not your shame. Your limp is your story. Your limp is not your weakness. Your limp is your witness. Your limp is not proof that you lost. Your limp is proof that you held on. Come on, tell your neighbor, I'll walk through it, but I'm still walking. Come on, but I'm still. By the grace of God, I'm still walking. I'm still standing. I might have a limp, but I'm still walking. And here's the revelation. Jacob walked with a limp, but he also walked with a new name. Come on. Because sometimes the place you got wounded is the same place that God renames you, the same place he restores you, the same place he reveals you, the same place he marks you for your destiny. So yeah, bring the crippled, bring the one with a limp, bring the ones that life hit hard, bring the ones that look like they shouldn't be here, because they are exactly the ones that God is calling. Real quick, if you're one of the ones, can you just open up your mouth, because you're not disqualified for your limp? Come on. It might take me a little bit longer to get there, but I'm pressing on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Jesus says, bring the blind. And instantly I thought about Bartimaeus, a man who couldn't see Jesus, but Jesus could see him. Blind does not mean broken. Blind means limited clarity. And if we're honest, blindness looks like more than physical impairment. It looks like seasons where life gets a little foggy. These are the people who can't see their way through life, the ones who feel their way through seasons, because nothing is stable, nothing is sure, nothing is consistent, nothing is clear. These are the people who don't know what's next, don't know who to trust, don't know what God is doing, don't know why life hit the way it did, don't know how to move forward. These are the ones who keep walking, not because they see the path, but because they hear the voice of God. These are the ones who pray, Lord, I can't see it, but I believe you anyhow. I don't have all the answers, but I trust in your name. I don't know the way, but I know the one who is the way. And Jesus said, yeah, bring them too, because the table is not just for the confident, it's also for the confused, not just for the people who see clearly, but for the people who are walking by faith, for the people who are doing the best they can with what they cannot see. And hear me, God has a soft spot for the blind, because blindness creates dependence. I said blindness creates dependence. Blindness produces hunger. Blindness stirs desperation. Blindness forces you to listen for what others can look for. That's why blind Bartimaeus shouted louder. He couldn't see Jesus, but he could hear him passing by. And sometimes the ones who can't see are the ones who cry the loudest. Sometimes the ones who can't see are the ones who worship the hardest. Sometimes the ones who can't see reach the farthest, because when you've never had clarity, you cling tighter to presence. I said, when you've never had clarity, you cling tighter to presence because clarity increases at the table. Vision becomes sharper near the one who sees perfectly. Your sight returns in the presence of the one who formed your eyes. Come on. You don't get clear when you come to God. You don't get clear before you come to God. You get clear when you come to God. At the table, he restores your vision. At the table, he aligns your perception. At the table, he opens what's been shut. At the table, he reveals what's been hidden. At the table, he gives direction for the confused. Some of you don't need a new season. You just need to take a seat at the table. And the master says, bring me the ones who can't see, because I've already seen them. Look at somebody and say, he sees me, he sees me. Jesus said, bring me the lame. And that's the man at the pool of Bethesda. When I hear the lame, my mind runs straight to him. 38 years stuck in the same place. 38 years watching other people get in the water. 38 years feeling like everyone else was moving forward while he was falling behind, because lame doesn't always mean that you can't walk. Sometimes lame just means that you can't keep up. These are the people who always feel behind in life. I feel behind in my purpose. I feel behind in my progress. I feel behind in my maturity. I feel behind in my breakthrough. I feel behind in moments where everybody else seems to reach it so easily. These are the people who compare their process to somebody else's pace and feel like something must be wrong with me. The lame are the ones who say, I'm trying, but every time I get close, something keeps blocking me. I'm reaching, but somebody always keeps getting there first. I'm believing, but I don't know what else to do. I'm present, but I'm tired of being disappointed. And Jesus says, I'm not afraid of that. Bring them too, because the table is not just for the strong. The table is for the struggling, not just for the ones who walk straight, but for the ones who drag themselves through seasons. This is why Bethesda hit so hard. The man didn't just have a mobility issue, he had a moment issue. Every time the water moved, he felt like he missed his window. But hear me, when Jesus walks up, he does not put the man in the water. He bypasses the water and brings the miracle to him, which means sometimes the people who feel the furthest behind are actually the closest to their breakthrough. Let me say it one more time. I said sometimes the people who feel the furthest behind, don't worry about it, you are actually closest to your breakthrough. Sometimes your slowest season is where God shows you his speed. Sometimes your weakest moment is where God is displaying his strength. And catch this, the lame man thought he needed a pool, but what he really needed was a person. He needed Jesus, not a movement. He needed Jesus, not momentum. He needed Jesus, not a perfect plan. He needed Jesus, not another chance to try harder. Tell somebody you need Jesus. Come on, I don't know what you've been looking for, but you need Jesus. And that's why the master says, bring them, bring them, bring them. Bring the ones who can't keep up. Bring the ones who feel disqualified. Bring the ones who feel too slow. Bring the ones who feel too late. Bring the ones who feel too stuck. Bring the ones who feel like they ruined their moment already. Bring the ones who think God skipped them over. Bring the ones who think everybody else got the miracle first, because the table has room for people who move slow too. I said the table, hallelujah, has room for the people who move slow too. And I want you to hear this prophetically. Some of you are not behind. You are just in process. You are not behind. You are just in process. God does not run out of moments. He does not run out of opportunities. He does not run out of grace. He does not run out of tables. Your pace does not disqualify you. Your delay does not displace you. Your struggle does not disinterest him. Come on. Because the table is not for the fast. The table is for the willing. Look at somebody and say, you're not behind, you're becoming. Come on, tell them you're not behind, you're becoming. And here's the part that I love the most. Here's the part that ought to make you open your mouth and bless him. Jesus wasn't just describing those people. He was describing us. Look at somebody and say, he was talking about me. The poor in spirit, that's us. Come on. Limping from life, that's us. The blind, he blinded until grace opened our eyes, that was us. Stuck until his voice lifted us, that was us. We weren't the ones who belonged at the table. We were the ones he went to go get. Come on. We were the ones on the outskirts. We were the ones with no covenant. We were the ones with no access. We were the ones who should have been disqualified. But God said, go get them. Go get them too. Because this is the revelation behind the story. Jesus was hinting at the Gentiles, the ones outside of their original invitation, the ones who weren't born in, the ones who weren't the obvious choice. He's looking at a room full of Israelites, and he says, yes, you were invited first, but you won't be the only one sitting at the table. And whether they liked it or not, whether they understood it or not, whether they realized it or not, he was talking about us. Look at somebody and say, he was talking about me. Come on. The ones who weren't born into the covenant, the ones who weren't raised in holiness, he was talking about you. The ones who didn't come from the perfect family, the ones who didn't grow up in church, I got you. The ones who didn't look the part, didn't sound the part, didn't have the pedigree. You can't shout if your life depended on you. That's all right. Oh, God says, I want you to. I want them to. Can you do me a favor? Touch somebody and say, he wants you to. He wants you. He wants you to. He wants you to. And here's why you should be grateful. You should be grateful because we did not make our way in. We were brought in. We didn't have to fight our way in. We were carried in. We didn't have to earn our way in. We were invited in. We didn't discover the table. Grace came and found us. Come on, somebody shout, grace found me. In fact, come on. Because it wasn't the servant in the parable doing the searching. It was Jesus. Jesus came looking for me. Jesus is the one that the Father sent into the streets. He's the one that was sent into the alleys. Jesus is the one who healed the poor. He healed the crippled. He healed the blind. He healed the lame. Jesus is the one who touched the ones that religion ignored. Jesus is the one who lifted the ones who culture overlooked. Jesus is the one who called those who society counted out. We didn't earn a seat. We were given one. We didn't qualify for a place. We were granted a place. We didn't climb our way into the kingdom. The King came and got us. Somebody lift your hands and say, I thank God for the invite. Come on, somebody shout, I thank God for the invite. Because through Jesus, the door opened. Through Jesus, the table widened. Through Jesus, the kingdom expanded. And grace said, come take your seat. You belong here. Come on, tell three people, you belong here. You belong here. You belong here. You didn't sneak in the door. You belong here. You belong here. You don't have to be worried about being put out. You belong here. Somebody shout, I belong here. And after the servant gathers everybody, he comes back with the report. He says, Lord, what you commanded has been done, but there's still room. Look at somebody and tell them there's still room. Come on, tell your neighbor there's still room. There's still room. There's still capacity. There's still spaces for more stories. There's still spaces for more families, for more transformations, for more testimonies, for more salvations, for more miracles. Empty seats are not a problem. Empty seats are an assignment. They don't mean failure, they mean invitation. If there is room, then there's a mission. I said, if there is room, then there is mission. If there is room, there is movement. If there is room, that means there is still work to do. Take a look around. If you got a seat next to you, it means there's still more work to do. Look at somebody and tell them there's work to do. There's work to do. When the master hears it, he doesn't get discouraged. He just turns up the urgency. He says, if it's not filled yet, then go out to the highways and to the hedges. He says, and compel them to come in. Don't wait for them. Don't hope that they wander in. Don't assume that they'll show up because the music is good. Don't assume that they'll come because the lights look nice. He says, go get them. Look at somebody and say, you got a commission. The Lord said, go get them. Go get them. It's your chance. It's your time. If you got a seat at the table, get up from the table and go get them. Go reach them. Go love on them. Come on. Go show them the heart of God. He's saying, make room in your heart. Make room in your schedule. Make room in your life. Because the master said, I want my house full. I want my house full. The preacher didn't say it. The pastor didn't say it. God said, I want my house full. Look at somebody and say, he wants a full house. Come on, tell him he wants a full house. This ain't suggestion language. This is not optional language. This is not if you have the time language. This is kingdom language. God says, I want my house full. Somebody shout full. Come on, shout full. He said, I want my house full of worshipers. I want my house full of seekers. I want my house full of prodigals. I want my house full of the broken. I want my house full of the lonely. I want my house full of the skeptical. I want my house full of the doubters. I want my house full of the hungry. I want my house full of the thirsty. I want my house full of the ones who the world counted out. I want the ones who religion walked past. I want my house full of the ones who don't look churchy. I want the ones that still smell like smoke. I want the ones that said they never step foot in the church again. Tell your neighbor, we got work to do. Come on, tell them we got work to do. Come on, I pushed all this way just to tell you. Fresh start, we got work to do. Because God is not just filling a table. He is building a family. He is gathering a people. He is raising a remnant. He is calling a generation. And you get to be a part of the strategy of heaven. I said you get to be a part of the strategy of heaven. Touch somebody and shake them and tell them he's talking to you. You get to be a part of the strategy of heaven. Your testimony is an invitation. Your obedience is an invitation. Your consistency is an invitation. Your faithfulness, it's an invitation. Your story is a key that unlocks somebody else's seat. I said your story is a key that unlocks somebody else's seat. Somebody shout, I'm carrying something. Come on, shout, I'm carrying something. I'm almost done. But I need to tell you that the next harvest won't come from this platform. It's coming from the saints. It's coming from the ones he's healed. It's coming from the ones he's delivered. It's coming from the ones he's rescued. It's coming from the ones he went into the highways to get. If he brought you out, it's because he's sending you back. If he's cleaned you up, it's because he's releasing you out. If he transformed you, it's because somebody needs what you carry. Fresh start, you are the servant in the story. I said you are the servant in the story. You are the ones who go out quickly. You're the ones who will compel them. You're the ones who will fill the house. Turn to your whole row and tell them it's time to fill the house. It's time. It's time. You sat at Thanksgiving dinner and didn't tell one person about Jesus, but we're going to change that narrative. You're going to change that narrative. This time they're going to know about the God that I serve. Come on. Come on, it's not just for a good time. It's not just for a good time, but every time I get the opportunity, I will testify of the crucified one. I will testify of the one who makes intercession for me. I will testify of the one who died for me and rose for me. Look at somebody and say, I got a testimony to tell. Come on, I got a testimony to tell. And I just want to say, I hear the sound of a people who know that they're on assignment. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I hear the sound of a church that refuses to be passive, who refuses to look at the state of the world and go on about your business. But God said, make my business your business. I hear the sound of a house that understands the hour. Now is the acceptable time. This is your season of sending. I said, this is your season of sending. You are being sent to the highway. You are being sent to the hedges. You are being sent to every mountain and every sphere of influence. You are being sent to schools. You are being sent to family gatherings. You are being sent to the trap house. You are being sent to the shelters. Yeah, you are being sent to the prisons. You're being sent to the ones who feel like they've been forgotten, because you know what it feels like. I was once there. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I once was blind, but now I see. I wish somebody in this room would thank God because he changed your story. And since he changed your story, I recognize that I got a testimony that can set the captives free. Tell 3 people, go and tell it, 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 go and tell it. The master says he wants his house full. The master says he wants his house full. And if he wants it full, then we want it full. If he wants the souls, then we want the souls. If he wants the lost, then we're going after the lost. If he wants the broken, then we're running after the broken. Somebody shout, fill the house, fill the house. Come on, shout it one more time, fill the house. Now can you thank God for the next season that we're embarking on? Come on, until every seat is filled. Until every seat is filled. Until every seat is filled. I wish I had time, but I need about 30 people to just lay hands on an empty seat and just declare full house in Jesus' name. Full house in Jesus' name. Come on. Come on, you gotta do it prophetically. You gotta do it prophetically. And I need some of you to prophesy who's gonna be there. Come on. I got a cousin that needs to be there. I got an uncle that needs to be there. Come on. I got a mother or a father who needs to be there. Come on. Prophesy, prophesy. I say you prophesy, prophesy, prophesy until his will is done in the earth. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Somebody just shout, fill the house. Fill the house. Fill the house. It's not a prayer, it's a mandate.